All right, Art, thank you. Well, turning now to some other news, the La Crosse mayoral race. As La Crosse voters prepare to narrow the mayoral field next week, we're sitting down with all 4 candidates this week. This morning, we start with Vicki Markussen, whose career has taken her from TV news to the Chamber of Commerce to workforce development. Good morning, Vicki. Thank you for being here with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. So we know that you've been deeply involved in La Crosse's economic landscape. So how do you plan to use that experience and stop our population decline?
Yeah, it's interesting when we talk about our economy. It's more than just population. It's workforce, it's transportation, right. It's the strength of our businesses, it's safety. And I have worked in almost all of those areas. And so it's nice to be able to bring that into the mayoral position. I am concerned that we are losing population. There was a study done with some of the school conversations that there are kids being born in La Crosse, but by the time they hit school age, they are living elsewhere. Right. We have to ensure, in fact, I have friends that have done it. They lived here and now they live in Holman and they're having a child. We have to ensure that La Crosse has a great narrative of how we're addressing all of those pieces of the economy, not just housing, of course, right. but all of those pieces so that we have a great story to tell as to why they should continue living in La Crosse.
All right, so having led the Building Association, what do you plan for housing crisis here in La Crosse?
Yeah, we have an interesting situation because we have limited supply, pent-up demand. It gets back to that economics, right? And so that's driving up our costs of housing. What we have to do, obviously, is meet some of that demand with the continuation of these high rises. There are several that are planned, but my concern ties back to that earlier conversation. We have to have the type of housing that our people want to live in, and that includes our seniors that want to downsize. We have, I've said it to the city several times, we have a tremendous opportunity. I think we have some of the greatest potential for first-time home buyers if we can find a way to get some of those homes to change over, get great housing options for our seniors, and then we'll start to have vibrant young families moving into our communities. And so really focusing, as a for example, talking with the Redevelopment Authority, who did such a great job of developing River Point District, which some of us old timers still know as the mobile oil site, but developing that. I've already talked to a couple. There's great potential for properties in our area, Train Plant Headquarters being one of them, of how can we start looking at how we develop some single family properties in La Crosse.
Okay, and then speaking of those young families, something that you've said that's interesting is each decision must ask if it will bring young families here. So walk us through a little bit, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so businesses use something, they use a lot of tools, but one of them is the Net Promoter Score. And it's a simple question to say, how likely are you to recommend X, the product, right? So how likely are you to recommend living in La Crosse to someone else? And then the most important piece of that question is why or why not? Okay. And we need people saying this is why they love to live in La Crosse, this is why they're choosing not to live in La Crosse, what they don't like, and those start to create great points for us to work on as a community, but it also impacts the decisions that we make. Is this going to cause someone to choose to live in La Crosse? If it's not going to, or to remain in La Crosse, we can't forget that. Right. We have to be factoring that into our decisions.
Okay.
All right, there's been debate about local enforcement helping out immigration with immigration. How do you stand on that?
Yeah, it's tough when these federal issues start to have a local impact. I was just listening on the way here to steel prices now having a 25% tariff. That impacts our housing prices, right? And our commercial construction. In this case, you know, I am a big believer in the federal government has their own resources. They have ICE that comes in. They are trained in how to do this. First and foremost, I find it my heart goes out to those individuals that I know. We have individuals in this area that are saying, should I bring my kids in for treatment? Should I send them to school? Because they fear what will happen during the daytime every single day. And so my heart goes out to those individuals. But I think we need to be mindful the federal government has the resources. We do not need to spend our local resources to assist.
Okay, all right. Well, Vicki Markussen, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
And like we mentioned, we will be interviewing all 4 mayoral candidates this week. Tomorrow, we speak with City Council President Chris Kalo. Stay with us. We're back right after this.